Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Hunto's Garage. It's been a hot minute since I put out a video, and with good reasons. I'll get you up to date on all those reasons, including what's going on with Project Oddball, some new vehicles I purchased, and some bad news. Okay, the bad news first. About 7-8 weeks ago, and this is currently December of 2019, my wife was in a really bad car accident. Totaled her car. The other driver hit her car as well as two other cars, and turned out to be driving under the influence at 5:15 in the afternoon. Needless to say, wife's car was totaled and unfortunately paid for. Well, maybe fortunately paid for. So that means I have not been able to do any video content. I haven't been able to do much on the cars. But prior to that, I did sell the Suburban and I sold the HHR. I got a new to me truck and just recently made a really out of my realm purchase for the wife for her new car. So that'll be coming up soon. So for Project Oddball, I actually got this thing to fire up and run, but only after finding out I had a bad coil. That's what this timing light was for. I just went ahead and cranked the engine with the sensor on the spark plug wires, and turns out two of them I didn't have any spark. So I went ahead and swapped that out, and I started it. It won't start and run without my foot on the gas. So if I put my foot all the way down, the thing will fire up and run. So that tells me I've most likely got an issue with a sensor of some sort over on the throttle body, or a vacuum leak, but I don't think it's that. The other issue I have is a bad coolant leak back by the thermostat. So this has been going on. When you do this swap, it puts your thermostat all the way back there at the firewall, so that leaves you the opportunity or the challenge of making sure coolant can get back to it. So that led to this, and I found some really neat little aluminum splices here that are splined, and they seem to work really well. These are 1.25" tube hose clamps, hose, and the thermostat housing is off a Geometro. So to go on, I had to end up putting the throttle body over here, and I know this is kind of jerry-rigged, but I'm kind of limited by this cable. This car is not does not have an electronic throttle body actuator. It goes off of a cable, so until I can replace this has to sit here. Ultimately, I'd like to put it over there next to the alternator. I think that's better, but in the interest of getting this thing started, I just put it here and made it work. Everything's hooked up the way it should be. It starts, it kind of runs, but just got a few bugs to work out. Then I'm going to send off the PCM, which is from the normally aspirated engine, off to be reflashed for the supercharger. So that's the update on Project Oddball. Not a whole lot, but it is moving forward. Again, I haven't been able to do much to it for the past 7 weeks, so that's on hold for other vehicle purchases and taking care of wifey. I'm gonna go into what happens when you have a fractured pelvis and what that kind of recovery is at the end of this video. But now, look what I bought. So like I said earlier, I sold the Suburban and I went totally outside my realm and comfort zone and bought a 2014 Chevy Silverado 4.3 liter V6. Not the old cast iron block and heads V6. It's a new all aluminum V6 called the Ecotech 3. 285 horsepower, 305 foot-pounds of torque. That's a lot more power than some V8 trucks had back in the 80s and 90s. Much more. Does everything I need to do, and it's also got a feature where it turns off 2 cylinders when the engine is not under load, giving you a little bit of gas mileage. To me, that's just something else that's going to go wrong. It's going to cost money, and it's gasoline direct injected, which means it's got a high pressure fuel pump in the intake. Now, before I bought this truck, I agonized over that, whether or not I really wanted to buy a truck with that feature. And to even waking up at 4:30 in the morning on the day of going to pick up the truck, I Googled it, I checked how much that fuel pump was, I looked at how much the injectors were, and I also researched on how to change it, how difficult is it to get to change that pump and the injectors. Turns out it's not very difficult at all. The pump is, I think I saw, around $200, and for all 6 injectors it was around $200. So I think it'll be okay. Although not the top of the line model, this truck is super nice, especially when you've been driving a 1999 Suburban. So the interior of the truck is pretty standard nowadays, and keep in mind this is a 5, almost 6-year-old truck now. I like the gauges. I like the fact that they have needles instead of being all digital. It's got AC, the screen with a bit of information and features. Mostly what I use is Bluetooth, and dual climate control zones, traction control off, a light in the back, glove box that splits in half. It's actually got 2 doors, which is pretty cool. The console comes up, and it's a 3rd seat in the front. There's also a compartment underneath, which is pretty good. You can lock that. And the back seat is a back seat. It's got a lot of room, and it's actually folds up. So what I ended up getting with this truck as part of the deal from the dealership is these floor mats. I asked for WeatherTech floor mats, but I got Chevy floor mats, which ended up being a $250 value for those, so that was pretty cool. And I got those in the front and in the back. Normally I wouldn't go for cloth seats, only because it's hard to keep them clean. Even when you clean them, the water leaves stains, in my experience. So I've always had vehicles with leather, except for the Camaro, of course, but I'm not worried about that. What I might do in the future is go ahead and swap these out with some catskin leather seats like I did on the Suburban. So that may be a future video. It's not as hard as you think. So the truck came with this brown carpet. You can see a little bit of it here, which was really nice. But can you imagine what that would look like after me going on job sites and then getting back in here? So I really like these. Even though they're not WeatherTech, they're still, I mean, they're nice and thick, and they're doing their job. They're going to keep that carpet looking nice for years to come. So I really like the interior of this truck, especially after driving a 99 Suburban for so many years. The dash is nice. It doesn't seem like it's got the cracking issues that the older Suburbans did. This is 2014 again. And these floor mats are definitely worth having. I'm a construction inspector by trade, so I'm in and out of job sites all the time, and when it's all muddy, that gets tracked in here, and these are an absolute must. Now, the dealership I bought the truck from treated me really well. They didn't give me any problems. They threw in the floor mats. Everything was good. Now, the only thing that I didn't catch when I bought the truck was a stripped out drain plug on the oil pan. and it had an oversized plug in it, which if I would have known that, I would have had them replace the oil pan for me. So it's okay. I've done the first oil change. I added a washer to the drain plug and it doesn't leak, so I'll leave it like that till I get ambitious enough to change the oil drain pan. That'll be another video. The bumper has the steps in the corners. The tailgate drops down gently. I like that. And it's got everything I could need. Cruise control, AC, decent gas mileage, power windows. There's nothing wrong with this truck. There are a couple recalls that I need to take it in for a hard brake pedal or something, but I'm not having any problems with it, and I'll take that in when I can. I did add a Craftsman toolbox because you just have the cab space. Everything else here is out in the open. So if there's anything you want to keep your hands on, you keep it in the cab. So I went ahead and got the toolbox, and that frees up the whole back seat, which has a lot of room back there. The seats fold up, so you got all that floor space. I like to put the dog back there when we go to the dog park, and I have those floor mats in the back, so it's all good. As far as maintenance history goes, I did check the Carfax on this truck before I bought it. Speaking of, it's got almost 90,000 miles on it now, and the truck looks brand new. I can't see anything wrong that would tell me otherwise. Wasn't a flood truck, I can tell you that. The engine looked super clean, even though it was detailed for resale. Still looked nice and clean. Didn't look like they had to, like on surfaces that aren't shiny, underneath hoses and under the truck, still clean as a whistle. I'm pretty sure this truck was garage kept, which just kept everything nice and clean, and it was treated well. That was one of my main factors in deciding to buy this particular truck. There's a few things I don't like about the truck. One is 20-inch wheels and tires. I had 15s forever on my Suburban. 15s have always been on trucks, and now they're just getting 16, 17, and now up to 20. So this really sets the truck up kind of high, and I can imagine what the price of these tires are going to be. Another thing I don't like about the truck is this battery setup. In order to change it, and this is a Delco battery, so right away I don't necessarily trust it. You've got to take this bolt out to get this brace off. This bolt over here as well. And then you've got these two plastic covers. There's your positive cable, and then this cover, which it looks like you need a screwdriver to take off. I'll have to do another video about that as soon as that comes up. So the decision to sell the Suburban and the HHR marks the end of the Suburban playlist and the end of the HHR playlist, but starts the playlist on Chevy Silverados and another one. So what you see behind me marks a break in tradition, and totally goes against my philosophy for what vehicles I'm going to own. Check this out. What you're seeing is a Lincoln MKX SUV. I know, it's an old person's car. My daughter said that, my wife said that, and that's the first thing that ran through my mind when we were looking for a Ford Explorer to replace my wife's Chevy Equinox. We have all come to the conclusion that this car is so cool. Although not real fond of the color of the wood trim, it's a little light in our opinions, but man, is this nice for an SUV. And what you're seeing isn't the half of it. The technology that this thing has and the quality of the leather, it's nice and thick and plush, unlike some other vehicles we've had, including our Equinox. This is quality. This whole car screams quality. At night, this has a feature that lights up or illuminates in like 8 different color choices. The cup holders, the floor areas, the door panel storage areas, and the door handles themselves. They all have lights. As a matter of fact, there's a warranty that you can buy just for the light system. Hope I don't ever have to use it. The technology in this thing is amazing as well. There aren't really any buttons or knobs at all. It's all touch sensitive, but everything works great. Even the fan motor, you push this side, or you can slide, or you can hit this side to get it to go faster. This, just tap this side to go slower. You can slide either way. Same with the volume. And looks like I just turned it on. Lincoln. Nice. Yeah, it pretty much does everything for you, including steering wheel heater. Yeah, this gets pretty warm. You have all your controls here. That's pretty standard and nice. The preset seat, steering wheel, and mirror adjustments are here. You got automatic trunk opening. Your normal, these are normal everyday switches, power windows, power locks, mirror adjustment. And when this window goes down, it sounds like quality. It doesn't sound any kind of clunkiness. There's nothing loose. It sounds tight. It's very nice. I am very pleased with this Lincoln. And the one thing I don't like is the engine start button. As long as that works, that's wonderful. But if it ever craps out, you know you got an expensive issue. I love the fact that it's got an analog type speedo. You've got all kinds of information over on this side. I'm not going to go through it all, but you get the idea. And your entertainment is over on this side. You can change the color of the dash lighting. As a matter of fact, if you go over here to, here's your climate, here's your entertainment, here's your settings, so you can go to display. I think this is really cool. Maybe it's not display. Settings, system. I love the touch screen. I hate to see if this thing goes bad though. Let's see, display. Edit wallpaper. I don't want to edit the wallpaper. This thing has wallpaper. I don't necessarily get or need that. Okay, here we go. Ambient lighting. Check this out. Isn't that neat? This car has balls. Christmas balls. And you can just slide whichever color you want, and that changes all the lighting I just talked about earlier. This is so neat. My wife happens to like the purple lighting, so that's what we're going. Not the red. This one's orange. I don't know if that shows up on the camera or not. That's orange, a blue, a deeper blue, an aqua color. It's pretty cool. And I guess you can even turn it off. We're always finding out new stuff about this thing. We've had it for probably 2 weeks now. AC works excellent. It's nice. I'll take you around to the back seat. Plenty of room in the back seat. No problems. Typical armrest in the middle that comes down, and for you sun or star seekers, moonroof / sunroof, front and back. Again, I hope nothing ever goes wrong with that. So we bought this car with 54,000 miles on it. Paid about $14,900 for it. And the car looks absolutely brand new. Things I don't like about it, it's a Lincoln, but I'm still looking for something that will change my mind as to why I don't like it. Under the hood, everything looks just as nice. I'm not a big fan of engine covers, but it sure looks like everything is where it should be, as far as nothing's out of place and it doesn't look like it's been messed with. This is actually in very good condition. It rides excellent. The coolant looks like it's getting a little bit dark, and I may need to go ahead and change that. One thing I did look into on these cars is how much these headlights are to replace. Only $200 each. In the back of the car, which I think is pretty cool, which the Equinox didn't have, is this switch. Nice. They don't go up by themselves, but I think that's pretty cool. And this button here closes your hatch. You gotta love that. So check out this cover, engine cover. It's foam. Sound deadening maybe? Would make sense. Thing does ride extremely quiet. The way I see this car, it's a glorified Ford Escape. Don't tell my wife that. She absolutely loves it. So does my daughter. And keep in mind, this car is a 2013. Yep, I bought a 2013 Lincoln MKX with 54,000 miles on it. Rides like a dream, runs excellent, is clean as a whistle, looks brand new. I think I did good on this one. Until something breaks on it. So that's what's been going on at Jay Hunto's garage. So it's the end of two playlists, Suburban and HHR. I'm sure some of you are very happy to hear that. And the start of two new playlists, Chevy Silverado maintenance and Lincoln MKX maintenance. DIY things you could do yourself. Don't be afraid of these vehicles, either one of them. I know there's some people out there who are saying, don't buy GM, don't buy Ford, buy Toyota. I know, I get it. Toyota's a little more pricey. Maintenance costs, I'd say, are less. I really like Toyota, but I bought a Ford. I've always been a Ford guy, but I've always owned Chevys of late. So this marks the change of what I'm going to be buying and what my loyalties will be towards, which I don't think I have any. I kind of have car ADD. Camaro, Mustang. I don't really like the Mustangs, the new ones, but I can appreciate them. I like the older ones. I've had 65 and 66 Mustangs. I really like those. Would like to get one again. And wife gets a Ford Lincoln. She really likes it. She really likes it. And the truck, Chevy hit a home run with the Silverado of this generation. I'm sorry, I gotta say that. Fords are great too. I like the F-150s, but I ended up with this truck. The deal was right, and I like it. According to the Carfax, it had one issue, and that was a leaking rear main seal. That shouldn't happen. As a matter of fact, my wife's 2014 Equinox had the same problem. Thankfully, it was on the timing cover, so I was able to take care of that. And then when it got wiped out, that's what brought us to the Lincoln. So, the truck I like. It does what I need it to do. What more can you ask of it? Everything works on it. I haven't had any problems with it so far. 4 months, and 5,000 miles later, it's been doing really good.